Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. Your SEC Insider Hit today is brought to you by Sound and Communications, SoundcomAV.com, the leader in video walls for your high school, hospital lobby, law firm, CPA firm, business technology firm, powered by SoundcomAV.com. Sound and Communications, SoundcomAV.com for your next video wall. We welcome in Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans, Mike D at Mike Detillier on Twitter, X. Mike D joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Mike, how would you describe, people are raving about and talking about this LSU wide receiver room and how loaded it is. How would you describe this LSU wide receiver room as Brian Kelly heads into 2025, Mike D?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's certainly not the best I've seen at LSU, but it's pretty good. With Chris Hilton, he brings you that big playability, speed over the top, and so you know he's still more of a potential guy. He didn't play a lot last year. He missed the first 6 games with a leg injury. Came back to play a few games, and he was a little bit rusty. And he caught the ear of Brian Kelly. Brian really jumped in, but good, about missed time in jumps and not running the patterns right. But late in the year, he was outstanding. He really was a difference maker for him. They bring in Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, a tall, rangy guy who put up huge numbers as a freshman. Last year had injuries at OU, so you hope he can return back to form. And then Barrion Brown from Kentucky, electrifying guy from a speed standpoint. That we saw him as a return man, and again another speed receiver. I think the best athlete on the team is Tre'Davious Green, who plays tight end. Tremendous basketball player, 6'7", kind of hybrid wide receiver tight end, and he can catch the football, and he is a nightmare mismatch downfield. And then they also got Baba Sawyer from Oklahoma. He was a former high school quarterback who played tight end at Southeastern Louisiana before OU, and so he gives you another threat there to catch the football and get downfield. So it's a pretty good unit. Now you can't compare that to one time this team had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on the same team.
Yeah, but that's not fair. That's like once in 4 lifetimes, Mike D.
But they also had Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry.
Unbelievable.
And so, it's a pretty good unit that they have so far at the wide receiver position. And I think they have some growth there and work to be done with Garrett Nussmeier, but they're going to scare you with their ability to throw the football deep. Big question mark is, can their offensive line give Nussmeier enough time to throw it downfield with 4 new starters up front? And it takes a little while for all that unit to mesh together.
4. So 4 new starters on the O-line.
Yep. The only guy that returns is DJ Chester, who has played center and guard for them. So we'll see how it all kind of breaks down. They've got a couple of transfers that they brought in, guys with experience at guard and center. But the 2 tackles most likely are going to be guys that have not seen a lot of work for LSU.
Oh, God, you got to go to Clemson. First game, and Clemson believes they've had their best defense in years.
And so that's part of the intrigue of this LSU team is that I think they'll be better, uh, especially on defense. I think they'll be better. But, man, you going up against a pretty stout and a bunch of young guys that have not played together along that offensive line. For me, it's always the last unit to come together.
Yeah.
It's always the very last. It takes a couple games for everybody to sort of pull together and understand. So it's quite a challenge week one.
Damn. LSU has 4 new offensive line starters, so does Ole Miss. But LSU starts the season at Clemson. The athletic directors, I don't know if it was Oliva or Woodward that have done this scheduling, but have done Brian Kelly no favors. It's great for us week one games. It is not good. You want to play 2, cupcakes to get everybody settled and ready, and then play a big monster game in week 3. But Brian's gone Florida State, and now Clemson, and with 4 new offensive linemen. Now, Nussmeier's really good. Mike just told us about an awesome tight end. Wide receiver room's loaded. I mean, they got dudes. It's just a matter of what you can do game one. That may not work out because Clemson has several first round, second round type guys on the defensive side of the football. Interesting. All right. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone. Mike D joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike D's getting ready for Saints camp. He's getting ready for LSU and everything else that we like to cover and celebrate. Mike, yesterday there was some talk and chatter in Atlanta that Nick Saban may coach again. I don't believe it, but I don't know him. Do you believe that Nick Saban will come out of retirement and coach again?
No, I think it's over with his coaching. I get it. A lot of coaches kind of go through that itch a little bit when you haven't coached, and especially the first year is the toughest. I know in talking to Pete Jenkins, who's retired and unretired 5 times, and he's always told me, Mike, that first year is difficult because you so patterned yourself after so many years of doing this, and you got to find something to fill the void. And I think with Coach Saban, I think television is natural for him because what you hear from him is how he is. He's not. This isn't any sort of made up thing that he's doing when he's on TV. I mean, you're hearing Nick Saban, the coach, talk like Nick Saban, the coach, on television when he does it. And so I think that part surprised me how good he was in that. And I knew he would throw himself into it. But, man, he's a natural. He's
awesome.
It really came easily to him, and sometimes it doesn't for guys like that. But he's being himself. But, man, listen, it's such a strange world to get back in. And, how this new world of college athletics looks, and it'll probably change 10 times by the time January kicks back around. But I don't see Nick coming back. I get maybe him even thinking about it. But, again, I go back to something that I've heard so many coaches talk about in the past, about that first year being the most difficult to stay out, because you get used to being around your people, your guys on the staff, the players. You're a difference maker, and certainly he's the greatest to ever do it. But I don't see him coming back.
Okay, I agree with you. He is Mike D, SEC, NFL insider, WWL Radio TV New Orleans, and he joins us on 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Mike, I want to switch gears again because you've shared so many amazing stories with us over the years on a number of people, but Sean Payton. We know he ran hot. We know how brilliant he is. What's the maddest you ever saw him?
Whoa, that's a good one. I can't recall right off the bat him really being upset about something, because he was almost a light switch type coach, and that he could turn it on and off real quick. Uh, him being upset, him being in a good mood, it sort of was like the light switch that he could turn it on and off real quickly. I don't recall him really being upset, other than somebody leaked one time to certain people in the press that they were going to pick a player in round one, and it sort of got leaked ahead of time, and he got upset about it for a while, but it sort of went away pretty quickly with him, but he wasn't real happy about it at all. Now, right off the bat, my first thought was, when I heard the leak, I thought it really came from him, because he had a tendency to do that himself. That's just the way he is. Sometimes, he would tell you something, and it really would catch you off guard. And the Patrick Mahomes story of 2017 is a great example of that. That he was telling everybody, I would say, maybe an hour before, that, if Mahomes there, we're going to pick him. He was the one doing that, telling everybody that he would pick Mahomes. And it came close. They were one pick away. And Kansas City traded up with Buffalo to get that pick right before the Saints.
Wow.
And, right before the Saints picked, and they picked Mahomes. But had Mahomes been there in 2017 instead of Lattimore, they would have picked Patrick Mahomes. Sean had went for a visit and worked out Mahomes himself. That wasn't a secret. But they also had the Zurich Classic that weekend. I bet every golfer, because he would invite certain guys over to the Saints like war room situation, and all those golfers knew about it. Every one of them knew that that Sean was openly saying, if Mahomes is there, we're going to pick him. And so a lot of times he kind of let the cat out the bag himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he stepped out, or somebody stepped out. You told the story, and Jeff Duncan has shared it too with us, that they told Drew, right, if this happens, like a couple of picks before, they were like, Drew, if this happens, we just need you to know we're gonna pick Mahomes. And Drew was still had a good bit of gas in the tank. So that's an interesting deal right there.
Yeah. And Drew's comment was interesting too. And he told Coach Payton, yeah, that's fine. He can sit and watch.
Oh my gosh.
Good. Listen, the one thing with Drew, he had a lot of self-confidence in him as a player. And just because, Mahomes was who he was coming out of Tech didn't mean that, he was going to play. Now, you got to remember, Mahomes didn't play much in year one. I think
he redshirted.
Him at a year again with Alex Smith was the starter there. But Drew was pretty sharp with us about, he told me about it, but hey, no big deal to me. He can watch me play from the sidelines. That's just the way Drew was.
No big deal. He can sit and watch. I love it. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. What are you expecting from Kellen Moore in his first? I mean, as far as media wise, what would you say? He's quiet. He's very talkative. How would you frame it up to date, Kellen Moore as the captain of the Saints?
He's much more on the quiet side than Coach Payton. Much more. His answers are short, to the point. Doesn't add on to the story at all. He's not a storyteller by any stretch. Does not really get into detail with things. But you can tell, that the wheels are clicking in his head. And so he's assembled a good staff. I still think, day 5, maybe stretch a 6-win type team out of this when you're kind of reshuffling your offensive line again, even though, your offensive line is littered with all first-round picks with the exception of one, Eric McCoy, who was a second-round pick. You got a rookie quarterback most likely in Tyler Shuck. You sort of paper thin still to me at wide receiver. You've got a defense that has got some talent. I still think they need help at corner. I think that's an area where you could see an upgrade, them go out and get an Asante Samuel Jr. Once he's medically cleared. I could see that happen. But you also have some age up front, too, on defense with Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. All those guys in the winter years of their football career. So, again, you can probably squeeze 5 and maybe get a 6th win out of this. But this team, even though they won't publicly say it, I think it's obvious that they are in the rebuild mode here where, you're going to have a lot of new starters and a lot of new reserves over the next 2 years into this football team. The big key for Kellen Moore is to develop young players. I thought that was not Dennis Allen, I think, is a really good defensive coach. As far as the head coach, it wasn't for him. But I think the one thing that really showed up was his staff had problems developing young players. And I think that's the key. I don't care if you're in pro football or college football. Have the ability to develop those younger players or guys you get in a trade or NIL, whatever, that they got to perform for you and quickly. And I didn't think his staff did a good job doing that. That's the big key for Kellen Moore. He's got to rely on some of the younger talent over the last couple of years that have not been developed on this team and get them on the field and seeing significant playing time.
Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, and this is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Football season is here, and everybody's fired up. Let's circle back real quick, Mike, to LSU. If they can go to Clemson, get out of there with the win. So, because that is a major challenge and some bad scheduling for Kelly and them. But, again, great game, and I'm excited about it. But if they can win that, they got 3 straight home games, and then they go to Ole Miss. But if they win at Clemson, could you see this team getting into the college football playoff if they get over that first game hurdle?
Yeah, I really do. And even if you lost the first game, it doesn't give you a lot of leeway. But I still think this is a really talented team with a veteran quarterback, with a really good running game with Caden Durham. And defensively, I think that's where this team could make the biggest stride. And they have had difficulties the last couple of years stopping the run, and especially mobile quarterbacks. If you go back to what Jalen Milroe did against them, Reed, Texas A&M, even Oklahoma's quarterback last year, and that's changed. But I think they've had some real difficulties in that. If they're better on defense, which I expect them to be, then they've got an opportunity to get to 10 wins. And this is, again, a talented team. And how quickly the offensive line will get back together is going to be a big key. But I think, again, mobile quarterbacks, because Cade Klubnik, even though, people talk about his passing skills, which is really good, and he's a first-round pick type guy, I think also you got to look at his mobility, his ability to get away from the pocket and make plays on the run, and also to tuck it in and take off. That's got a big key, and that's been a problem for LSU, stopping that. And how they use Harold Perkins. I guess they tried to reinvent the wheel with him, because in year one, when he was a pass rusher, Oh man, we saw what he could do. He was a big time playmaker for him, and then they tried him all kind of different ways. They were even taking him off the field on third down, which I never understood. He's your best pass rusher. I don't get it. But Blake Baker, I'm interested to see, and Brian Kelly's been close to the vest about how they're going to use Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks on the field at the same time at linebacker. But I think that's a big key for them, the ability to put pressure on the quarterback and to stop those mobile quarterbacks from taking off downfield and making big plays against them.
We'll leave it there. Mike Detillier, at Mike Detillier on Twitter, and WWL Radio TV New Orleans, the guys everywhere when it comes to Saints and LSU Tigers. Mike D, it's getting close, my man. Have a great week. We'll talk next week, okay?
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
He's the best. Mike Detillier on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Lunch today is brought to you by the Blue Plates at Martin's in Livingston. And where do we want to go? How about some wings and a cup of gumbo? They've got ice cold Bud Light and Mango Cart on tap. Martin's in Livingston or downtown. I was there actually more recently than I've been to Martin's in Livingston because I met a buddy. Was it last week? Yeah, last week for lunch. We had a large time. Good spot. And so, golly, I need some wings. Do you need some wings, Jackson Meadows?
Some Martin's, period.
Okay. Shrimp po' boy.
Redfish Kathleen.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. You got your M Brave shirt on today.
Yeah, you know, I love my M Braves. I like to rock them.
I love it. Mississippi Mud Monsters?
Mud Monsters.
Got to get some gear. We got to get you some gear for the Mississippi Mud Monsters.
Yeah, I need to go over there.
That way you're sporting, you're repping the deal.
The current deal.
All right, we'll have to get with them.
Yeah.
We've got to get a piece or two of merch from the Mississippi Mud Monsters for you.
I mean, I'm sure they won't. If there's anyone they want to endorse them, it's got to be.
No, there's no question.
I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Hey, speaking of National Mac and Cheese Day, how about some smoked Gouda Mac? Smoked Gouda Mac. Pulled pork mac, lobster mac, bacon mac from Two Brothers in Starkville, Mississippi. Bacon mac from Two Brothers in Starkville, Mississippi. Can Barton Deacons cook or what? How about that Reuben at Older Brother Bistro? Goodness. Muffaletta. But we're going to have to get you a little more cultured with your palate. You got to smash a muffaletta. Or you can't even say you're a Saints fan. Steve Robertson next on the MLB draft and Brian O'Connor and MSU. And Brent Rooker was a dude in the home run derby.
say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m. and this ain't no kiddie show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
All aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. Brought to you by Grit Fitness Facility, Flowwood. Jay Powell, the new director of baseball operations at Grit Fitness and Training Facility right behind Ergon on Lakeland Drive. I don't know how many MLB players have trained there from this area, but it's a lot. Jay Powell, the new director of baseball operations for Grit Fitness and Training Facility on Lakeland Drive behind Ergon. Indoor, outdoor turf, batting cages, the whole thing, all at Grit Training and Fitness Facility. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We welcome in Steve Robertson for a quick hit. Genespage.com, 247 Sports, and the Major League Baseball draft. We may have time to get into Brett Rooker. That was awesome last night. Well, to a certain extent. Some people are angry. Steve may have already called MLB on a ruling, but let's talk Major League Baseball draft and Brian O'Connor. Who are the guys that I want you to think that a lot of people are busy, Steve, and they can't keep up with it on a day-to-day basis. Who are the guys that Mississippi State escaped the Major League Baseball draft with, Steve?
Well, Jack Bauer and Jacob Parker. And Jacob Parker, matter of fact, I just published his interview. Just off the phone with him this morning.
Nice.
As he's bypassing on the draft. He's going to be headed to Starkville here very, very soon. And it was his decision. And I think that's one of the things that people need to understand. Like, it's not about talent. It's about signability, right? I mean, when you have the talent to play at pro ball level, and you've got leverage, as many of these guys do, you're not going to sign just for the sake of signing. I mean, the days of Major League Baseball teams, signing some kid out of JUCO for a hot dog and a Coke, I mean, those days are over. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be able to be willing to pay guys. And in the end, I think most people thought that the Blue Jays would probably work a deal. They had 2 picks on day one. You thought they would take JoJo and come back and get Jacob. They didn't. And once it really got past the third or fourth round, it was really a situation where you felt like this is all going to work out well for Mississippi State. And, Jack Bauer had kind of made it known he wanted to go to school, and he's going to need life-changing money to prevent that. So State has 4 guys that are forecasted in the first day of the draft in the high school ranks, and they get 2 of those 4. And that's numbers you'll take every year.
Man, even Jackson Meadows has been talking about the Parker guys, and Jacob Parker, I'm reading Steve's article right now, headed to Mississippi State. So, all right. And then you mentioned Bauer. I talked to you briefly yesterday. You were all fired up about that. Kind of project him a little bit, Steve.
Well, the first thing that I want to say about that is people need to understand he's not Roger Clemens. Okay. And, you see the 103 miles an hour and obviously that's a big thing. This guy's a hard thrower, and it's going to be up to Justin Parker to kind of teach him how to pitch a little bit. He's a guy that has had some command issues at times, but, the raw materials to be a dude are there. But, I don't think fans should expect him to show up, year one and be Paul Skeens. I mean, there's a developmental process that's got to take place. And, this is a guy that, signed with Virginia because he believes in Brian O'Connor. And once he decommitted, people were thinking, well, he's headed to Mississippi State. Well, he's probably going to get drafted. Well, the kid believes that, in Brian O'Connor's message, you kind of get to choose how you want to spend your life from 18 to 21. You can do it on a college campus. You can get developed. Your parents can come be a part of everything. You're around people your age. A lot of good-looking girls at baseball stadiums. I mean, that's just kind of how life works, and let's talk about it as we do. But the reality of it is Brian O'Connor has done a great job in a short time settling Mississippi State to some of these guys. I mean, we thought Richie Swain may be a guy that could potentially sign. Parker Rhodes was a guy that was getting some pre-draft buzz. Peter Mershon, David's brother, was a guy that went to the MLB Combine. And O'Connor gets everybody to campus except for JoJo Parker, who's drafted in the first round, and Landon Harmon, a guy that everybody's been expected to sign from the beginning of this process. And I can't speak highly enough about the job this staff has done selling Mississippi State.
Yeah, it's game on. Brian O'Connor with some big wins over the last 48 hours and everything that led up to it, as Steve is explaining. Steve just dropped an article on his site about Jacob Parker, who's coming to Mississippi State. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports, and Steve's been working this nonstop the last, several weeks, but definitely 48 hours. So, all right, what else as far as guys returning to the roster, Steve?
Yeah, that's a big one. We were a little bit worried about Garrick Fry. I mean, I talked to some of the former coaches at Mississippi State because that's who the resources are, right? I mean, a lot of scouts reach out to find out, how coachable guys are, and there were a lot of calls being made about Garrick Fry. And Garrick Fry's analytics are tremendous. I mean, great power from both sides of the plate, doesn't have a lot of swing and miss. Guy that was a natural third baseman, and then, of course, A3 shows up, and, he's going to run the third for you. But we thought Garrick may be kind of a middle-round type guy, and we worried a little bit that Noah Sullivan could be a guy that may be late and due to his age may sign. Well, neither of those guys end up getting drafted. And, again, that's, give O'Connor and those guys some credit. I mean, those guys have been around. Those guys have been in contact with their staff for about a part of 6 weeks now. And Noah Sullivan's a guy that loves college baseball. And I don't know that he has a natural position. You don't see a lot of DH-type guys drafted, but that's a great locker room guy for you. I mean, and think about Garrett Fry. This is a guy that has, been a career infielder, and just because he wanted to be on the field, he basically goes out there and starts taking reps and learns to play left to get himself on the field and for the betterment of the team. And I looked this up last night, Bo. Mississippi State will return its top 5 hitters for average from last year's team. Top 5. And I don't know that anybody in the country can say that. I hadn't done the research on that. But that's an interesting statistic. And then you think about what they're bringing in from the portal and now what you're getting in from the signing class. There is reason for exuberance in Starkville, Mississippi.
Unbelievable. And Garrick Fry has one of the coolest names in college baseball. Let's just go ahead and lay that out there, Steve.
Oh, he definitely comes from a baseball family, right?
Golly. All right. Anything else that I mean, this has been a hell of a 48 hour. I mean, O'Connor, it's crazy the way things have lined up, but I still believe that they've hired the Nick Saban of college baseball. Anything else? We got a minute left. Anything else I missed, Steve?
Well, the good thing is, unlike the last couple of summers, State's not going to have to sweat any of this stuff out, right? I mean, you kind of know who's coming to school and who's not, and who's coming back. And so now you can kind of clear your mind, and if you need to pick up a portal piece or two, you can do that. But now the roster is now kind of finally coming into focus. It's such a big deal to get through the MLB draft because you lose one guy, and he was expected to sign anyway. So you haven't really lost him, but now Brian O'Connor and those guys can kind of begin to put the final pieces into place.
It's a group that's going to be, deserving and worthy of a vacation. So,
I hope they get a vacation in Omaha next summer. How about that?
Well, that's a good point. All right, Steve Robertson, good job. Thanks, man.
See you, bud.
GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. So, Jackson, who doesn't ever really talk about anybody, has been talking about the Parker brothers for months, and now Jacob Parker's going to go to Mississippi State.
Love that.
Unbelievable.
Would have been really cool
Parker
to see him
and
go with
Bauer.
his brother, but I love to see him in maroon instead.
Yes, you will.
That's dope.
He may go on to become an All-American
So
at
cool.
MSU.
They're so good.
All right. From Purvis, Mississippi. All right. Out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Brought to you by Grit Fitness and Training Facility. Jay Powell, the new director of baseball operations. It's in Flowood behind Ergon. Indoor-outdoor turf, batting cages, monthly memberships. Grit Fitness and Training Facility.